Ladies and gentlemen of YouTube, Transformers fans everywhere, welcome back. LPS, Last Prime Speculator, here to bring you another Transformers speculation education as always. Today we're going to focus on the Forge of Solus Prime. We're going to learn about one of the 13 Solus Prime and the Forge of Solus, which we are under the impression right now that the weapon that Bumblebee uses to reprogram himself and take on Optimus Prime in the last night is the Forge of Solus Prime. And we're going to tie it in at the very end with that. To my subscribers, I love you so much. If you're not familiar with Transformers speculation, this is the community for you. If you're open-minded and enjoy Transformers in general, we have a tight community. We're buying, we speculate, and we also learn about the history of Transformers. We dig in just as deep as Transformers the last night, but we do it right here on this channel. So if you're a fan of Transformers again and have an open mind speculations, this is the community for you. Make sure to subscribe. Now let's get right to it. Solus Prime. Solus Prime is one of the 13 created by Primus. Solus is a female Prime, and she is the maker of the ancient Cybertronian weapon and relics, the arsenal and the magnificent weaponry of icons wielded by the original Primes, and her most impressive handiwork, created by the icon of her own, the Forge of Solus Prime. She finds joy in creations, which she is particularly close friends with Nexus Prime and Micronauts Prime, and Onyx Prime, who revealed as similar pursuits. Her closest relationship, however, was with Megatronus. The two are bound and close in a romantic and unique relationship among the 13, and spend much of their time rejoicing each other while their time of war is not needed. Solus Prime was designed as a silver and black exterior color. She is noteworthy of not only being a skilled creator, but for being the very first and so far the only female Prime. Solus Prime was one of the 13 created by Primus to battle Unicron, and giving a hammer she named it after herself. After the stellar cycles Alpha Trion, who had an idea why Solus was a female, but the other 12 were all males. He suspected it due to Primus wanting to increase the diversity in the species of the Cybertronian life form. Since Solus was the only female Prime, there would only be one female Cybertronian of the 12 males. After the battle, she became close to Megatronus Prime and had created a rivalry with Prima, as he was creating War Beasts. Liege Maximo asked her to make him an armor. She made the Apex armor, but was hesitant to give it to him after he showed the greed, guilt, and manipulativeness of his power. He tried to manipulate Megatronus into getting it for him. She pledged her undying love to Megatronus before she died. Prima tried to use the rally of his brothers against Megatronus, only for Megatronus to confess about the work of Liege Maximo. After a bloody battle, Solus' corpse was placed in a beautiful tomb forged of her remaining brothers. Solus Prime's legendary power of artifacts created by her are known as the Star Saber, Requiem Blaster, the Apex Armor, the Chaos Edge, Cyber Caliber, Quill. Now let's learn about the Forge of Solus. The Forge of Solus is a symbol of the office of the Master Ancient Powerful Artifact Weaponry of the 13. Oddly, it's not actually a forge in a classic sense, but rather a hammer, a size of width that suggests that Solus and her brothers towered over the modern Cybertronians. Utilizing the power of a mature neutron star of its very own heart, the Forge operates through the convergence of magic and science. It is not known just how powerful the Forge is, but is believed that it can be used to make anything out of anything, with the possibilities of even being limited of the skill, knowledge of the Prime wielding itself. The Forge was used to craft many of types of artifacts of the 13, and is noted to be one of the few things that could craft the core components of a Cybertronian's body back together from scratch. On its own, the Forge is capable, but only Solus Prime is allowed to use the Forge from the creation of Lath to reach its full potential, and was created by the weapons of artifacts of supernatural power. Its sheer mass can certainly be used to destroying the target of huge stakes of a power of light, the second only to have the Star Saber as the most powerful weapon created by one of the 13. The Forge is so heavy that only select few could carry the strength to carry it without any difficulty. So far, worthiness of a Prime can carry the heavy weapon known as the Forge of Solus. The Forge of Solus was created by or given to Solus Prime, who named the artifact after herself, which she forged the weapons to be used with the 13, such as the Star Saber and the Requiem Blaster. She used it as her own personal weapon against Unicron. After the Chaos Bringer was defeated, the personalities of the 13 emerged. Megatron was stunned after his brothers and sisters labeled him as a traitor, which he ended up becoming the Fallen. Solus was exiled by her brothers after being dubbed as her love was labeled as the Evil Empire. Her forge, like many other artifacts, was given to Alpha Trion, who had hid all the artifacts and is set to be deserted and nowhere to be seen ever since. The Forge of Solus, Transformers Prime. The Forge of Solus was welded by Solus Prime out of the 13 to be battled for Unicron. Before the Great War, the Forge of Solus was kept in the vaults of Icon, but was hidden on Earth to keep out of the wrong hands of evil. Millions of years later, its location was decoded by Optimus Prime. Megatron then later sent out the wrong hands and sent his minions out to locate the ancient artifact, Breakdown and Knockout, to retrieve it. Breakdown managed to unearth the Titanic hammer, but Bulkhead managed to take it before he could, then proceeded to use it in the floral hopelessness of the Decepticons. Megatron was angered by the failure of his minions. Upon the return to the Nemesis, the Decepticon leader found that the hammer was nothing but a heavy piece of Cybertronian metal. Without the barrier of a soul of a Prime, the hammer is worthless and the weapon cannot reach its absolute power. Megatron considered it to be a victory only because the Forge was far out of the reach of Optimus Prime, who could not use the power for himself. After Optimus Prime got a hold of the Star Saber, Megatron sought to mean a counter-powerful weapon. After Deadwing reminded him that the Forge is not in their possession, Megatron decided at the time to had come to drastic measurements, returning to Cybertron. He stole the arm of the deceased Prime, Liege Maximo, and had granted it to himself, finally allowing him to be able to use the Forge of Solus as having the hand of the actual Prime of Liege Maximo. The Forge was created by then the Dark Saber, a piece of Dark Energon, and a new sword that is more powerful than Solus and the Star Saber. After using it, it shattered the Star Saber into millions of microscopic pieces. The badly damaged Optimus Prime refused to use it for himself, believing the remaining power should be converted as some point to repair or destroy the Omega Lock. Smokescreen went against the leader's wishes, placing the Forge onto Optimus' hand, restoring Optimus back to life with a new upgraded body. The Prime came back better than ever. The actions resulted in the Forge being drained completely, and Smokescreen took it with himself as the Autobot rendezvous at a human military base. The Forge was set to be completely destroyed. Now let's talk some Transformers The Last Night. So guys, what do we learn from that? The Forge of Solus is an ancient artifact created by the maker, Solus Prime. It was built for good. It was built to basically for the 13 to be used to defeat Unicron. But it's used of magic, power, and science, exactly like the relic we saw with Merlin. This idea is very, very important because this movie has always been rumored to be about time travel. I've always been a soft believer it is about time travel. It's all about the Omega Lock, that possibly that the sword that Optimus possesses is the key to unopening Omega Lock. Now, after our TF education, we also learned that only a Prime can bury and withhold this power to use for good. So why does Bumblebee have it? Bumblebee is a scout and a guardian, and he's fighting Optimus Prime against this on what we think is the Omega Lock. Now, Bumblebee not being a Prime, how would he be able to bury this possession? Think about this. Optimus flew off into space and has gone to meet his makers and creators. Bumblebee is leading the team on the ground. Technically, the leader, next in command, of G1 ranks would be Ultra Magnus. In my opinion, Bumblebee's worthiness throughout this live-action universe has tested his worthiness of a Prime. That basically, that the hammer chooses the one that is buried and fortunate enough and has the soul of good to carry this hammer. It is so heavy that only a Prime and the pureness of a soul can use its powers for good. What better than Bumblebee? Bumblebee could have used this power as well, what we learned in our TF education, to be able to use this upgrade where we see him transform. Where basically, in my opinion, I don't know if you guys agree, this is closer to the headmaster as it comes. That literally he can literally detach apart and still maintain a humanoid form of his Transformer Cybertronian metal. And The Forge of Solus is based off of magic, power, and good. Bumblebee, to basically defeat Optimus, can't defeat him by himself. Optimus is a Prime. He's too strong, he's too powerful, and he's possessing, in my opinion, dark energy. Similar to what we learned in Transformers Prime, where Megatron used the dark energy to create the Star Saber, only to shatter and defeat Optimus. The Forge brought Optimus back to life in Transformers Prime. Now, to beat Optimus Prime, Bumblebee is going to be required an upgrade. They also connected with the Last Night, where we see that big battle with him and Optimus is just ripping Bumblebee apart. What if Optimus is using the power from the Forge of Solus through this hammer, giving it to him and connecting the power? Basically, he's touching him, that he is a Prime. He, being a Prime, is touching Bumblebee and blessing him with the ability to be able to carry the Forge of Solus Prime. The Forge of Solus Prime is an artifact that is basically used to put a Transformer back together and also create life in a way. Exactly what the Maker is. Now, we've been talking about the Maker, right? We saw the new image of the Maker, which we think to believe is Quintesson. I've made in my last video about the blue eyes. Those blue eyes with drift. If you haven't seen my last video, make sure you check it out. The Autobot blue is so significant. Red is Decepticon, blue is Autobot, purple is usually Dark Energon. Purple could also mean the balance. Think of a writer's team's perspective. This is a territory they've never crossed in the live-action universe, which they have basically learned the education, the knowledge of the Transformers universe, right? And are digging into the lore and mythology of Transformers. But they still got to keep us interested. They still got to get our money. You tie that all in, rewrite history in its own way. The actual battle could be an idea of the Omega Lock. The Forge of Solus is connected to the Omega Lock. Bumblebee is using this hammer to defeat Optimus, to defeat the hate out of him. Only good can defeat evil. Now, the Forge of Solus is a hammer that is set to repair the spark of a Transformer away, detach it, whatever. Now think about this. Optimus is going through his evil dark stage. We see him fighting the Infernocons. We see the hate. We see the hate with the humans. The Transformers are killing the humans. Bumblebee, no matter what happens, has always been here on Earth defending the humans in some way. In my eyes, he is worthy to be the next Prime in running, right? That would explain why he does have this hammer in his possession, which gives him this upgrade. Now, Optimus being a Prime going through his trials, this could also be Bumblebee's opportunity to do his trials. Think about it through his perspective. He's fighting his leader, his mentor, his father figure, Optimus Prime. Now, being a Prime, you must test your worthiness. I believe that this is a trial of redemption. If you got to fight this leader of Optimus Prime, who he looks up to, that is a judgment and something that, Bumblebee is going to have to go against his own demons. Think about through the soul. He clearly has a soul, and he loves Optimus. Fighting his own master would be a trial of redemption. Optimus is going through the same thing with him just slaughtering Bumblebee. If they combined it both, though, Optimus being able to touch Bumblebee maybe could bless him in his own way as a Prime to be able to use the Forge of Solus, which is, again, to bring the creation of a Transformer back. Think about it through Optimus Prime's perspective. I believe he's controlled by Unicron, Liege Maximo, Quintessa, the Infernocons, whatever. He's under control by something evil. Now, to be created back, what better than the Forge of Solus Prime that is built to basically respark the form of a Transformer? So guys, I hope you enjoyed that TF education. A little bit of speculation there for you, but this has been all over comments on social media and my channel. I thought I'd touch on it, and we learned a little bit about the Forge of Solus. Apparently you guys are enjoying the TF education movies, and I enjoy making them for you. Again, if you're not familiar with this channel, we dig deep in the lore of Transformers. We try to talk about pretty much what nobody else is really talking about. If you're a fan of Speculation's Open Mind, this is the community for you. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and that like button. To all my subscribers, I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for the support. LPS, Last Prime Speculator, hitting you up with another Transformers Speculation Education. Peace.